understanding the dynamics of all of this. When you hear the players, particularly Davante Adams, coming out that strongly backing Aaron Rodgers, what does that mean to you?
Well, if I'm Aaron Rodgers and I'm hearing that, Green, I feel really good because as a player, when I'm on the field, I know those guys out there, the other 10 guys on the field have my back. And I think from a player's point of view, Greeny, you got to have the guys back to step on the field with you. I get it, the coach, the front office, all that other stuff, but when you step on the field with those players, those are the guys that are in the huddle. Those other people, the coach, the GM, they never step foot on the field. So I would expect nothing less. And I'm, quite frankly, I am glad that Bakhtiari and Davante Adams, they have Aaron Rodgers back because they should. There's a brotherhood amongst the players when we step on the field. And I think they understand the dynamic of what's going on. They're not oblivious to things that have happened in Green Bay. They may not comment on them, but they know how Aaron Rodgers felt when Aaron Rodgers saw Jordan Love getting drafted. As a player, you feel a certain way. We all know what that meant. At some point, you're drafting a guy to replace me, and I think everyone recognized that, and I think everyone understands how Aaron feels. And so I'm glad that they came out and said what they said, because if I was them, I'd say the same thing.
So, Mike T., if you're the general manager or the president there in Green Bay, how does that impact you? The fact that the players are not only privately, last week all the receivers didn't show up for the voluntary stuff. Now the biggest stars on the team besides Rodgers are publicly supporting him. How, if at all, does it impact the way this thing goes?
You have to remain patient. And if Aaron Rodgers loves football, despite hating the front office of the Green Bay Packers, they have to prove to him that if you want to play football this season, it's as a Green Bay Packer. And to do that, that's not going to happen overnight. It's probably going to happen sometime after Labor Day. So I agree with Booger. From a front office standpoint, you love the fact that his teammates have his back. But your job is to prove to him that as a competitor, as someone that loves the game, your only option on the table is to play football right here in Green Bay, despite the differences you have with us.
So, Graziano, you're as plugged into the situation there as any reporter that we have. And we hear the coach up there saying literally, it is what it is, man. I mean, that's where he finds himself. Where do they find themselves right now?
They're trying to do what Mike is talking about and stay patient, right? Like they're dug in as well, and they're not interested in trading him. They still want to find a solution in which Aaron Rodgers is their quarterback in 2021. So I think I don't want to reduce it to oversimplistic, but it's kind of a game of chicken, right? Like how far is he willing to take it? He's now skipping mandatory minicamp. Is he going to skip training camp? Is he going to sit out regular season games? At this point, the Packers' position is they're willing to wait and find that out and go about their business in the meantime. Obviously, they could get impatient. They could decide, to be rid of the situation and trade him, and that may be what Aaron Rodgers is hoping for. But right now, both sides are dug in.
Mike T., let me come back to you because you're one who has lived these. Again, for those who don't know, Mike was a general manager in 2 different places in the NFL. At the same time this is happening, is the phone in the Packers front office ringing every single day with GMs from other teams checking in and saying things like, hey, have you changed your mind? Is he available? I'll offer you this, that, and the other. Is that happening every single day?
100%. And I've been on both ends of those phone calls. Once when we were trying to pursue Brett Favre, I was at a lake house up in northern Vermont with my family. And the worst thing that could happen, Greeny, is to read that Brett Favre is a Buffalo Bill or at the time a Miami Dolphin. Likewise, when we were going through a Darrelle Revis holdout, we were getting calls all the time like, hey, what is it going to take? We're interested. So from a competitive standpoint, you don't want to lose out on an opportunity truly of a lifetime. So if you're the Denver Broncos, could you imagine waking up one day and seeing that he's a Las Vegas Raider? So absolutely, the phone's ringing a lot. And candidly, that adds a layer of angst to the Green Bay Packers because now they're dealing with all that incoming as well. So it just makes a difficult situation even harder.
All right, so Booger, again, let me circle it all the way back to you on the mentality of all of this. At the end of the day, Dan Graziano, I think, just framed this correctly. This is a game of chicken. How do you see Aaron Rodgers playing this? If the Packers are going to force him into a situation where he's going to have to start missing things more important than mandatory minicamps in June, how do you see it playing out?
Well, first of all, Greeny, I'm going to give you this answer from Tampa, Florida, not from my lake house in the mountain, wherever Mike T was. Mike T, nice humble brag this morning. We all don't have a lake house, but good for you. Glad that you have a lake house. Greeny, at the end of the day, Aaron Rodgers has 240 million reasons that he doesn't have to blink. So if this is a game of chicken, I'm going to bet on the guy that doesn't have to move. I get it. The organization has more money, but Aaron Rodgers has something that I think that a lot of people aren't banking on, and he has a resolve that, you know what? You've done me wrong based on whatever merits that he deemed that they've done him wrong on, and we all know they didn't believe in him based on the fact that they moved up. They traded up to draft Jordan Love. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is coming in. And so in my mind, this is not a game of chicken. This is really a move based on the Green Bay Packers. It's your move. You trade me, great. If you don't, I'm going to chill. I'm going to be in Hawaii. I'm going to take my shirt off. I'm going to hike up mountains, and nobody's going to bother me, because if you find me $100,000, you find me $500,000, you know what? I'll go in my sock drawer, I'll find that, and I'll send it to you, because I have a resolve, because it's based on principles. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to go to Mike T's lake house somewhere in the mountains, and I'm going to just hang out. So y'all call me when y'all ready to trade me.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.